Hello, like, do you not see me? Like, what's going on? Tommy, look under the bed. What? Hey beautiful, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new, hi, my name is Alexis Jayda and welcome. Today's notification shout out goes to Leah. Thank you so much for all your love and support. So Leah was asking if the boom chicka bing 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 chicka bing chicka bing 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 was an original or if it's something that I've heard before. No, this is an original. I made it up myself. So when I was gonna say when I was born with Jade, oh my gosh. When I was pregnant with Jade, I would always kind of just like hum this song. I don't know, it randomly came up. So I do it with every baby. If you guys remember Giovanni's theme song, let me know down below. But with Jade, I would hold her and my little mama just like would always like move her shoulders. She loves dancing. Even now you tell her and she just breaks it down. She loves dancing. So when I would do that little boom, chicka biki 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 bing, she would get so freaking excited. She still does. She turns around and she gives me a face like, ah, it's about to go down. And it is. So yeah, that is my like family song, or when I'm like super hype, I will do that song. I don't know, just something about it just like makes me just want to move and just like, I don't know, it makes me freaking happy. But yeah, so if you want to be part of the notification squad, all you have to do is just like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment down below, and you can possibly be my next notification shout out. So I just want to say thank you so much for those who have watched my previous story time and my previous video. I did a what a morning was like for me, and I got really good feedback on that. I'm so excited. I'm gonna be doing a grocery haul very, very soon, so make sure to stay tuned for that. A lot of you guys did not know I am a mom of 6, so you guys were like, well, what the hell? And yeah, so 6 babies, maybe more in the future, who knows? But anyways, let's just sit back, relax. Let me know what you guys are doing, who you guys are watching this with. If you are driving, where are you going? If you are cooking, what are you cooking? And if you're eating, what are you eating? And if you're working, like what kind of job do you have? I am very curious and I would love to know down below. Also, make sure to follow my Instagram. So if you guys are not getting notified on YouTube, I always post when I post. I always post on my story when I am going to be posting a story time, and I send you guys the link when it goes live. So make sure to follow me on there as well for giveaways. All right, sit back, relax, and let's get into this mother freaking story time. My babies always get into my stuff and they don't put it back. I feel like when I got into my mom's stuff, I would always try to like take a picture mentally or physically and put everything back, but my babies don't give a damn. Everything I will be everything I will be using will be linked down below, so make sure to check that out if you're curious what is on my elbows. So Skillet screams, look under the mattress. And when I tell you, I literally felt like time slowed down. And I feel like that happens a lot sometimes when I'm like really freaking out. I feel like the whole room just goes like super crazy, and I freaking had the worst panic attack the other day. I'm gonna do a separate video on that so we can cheese me out about that, because I did share that with you guys on Instagram and a few of you guys had some questions. But it gets really bad where I honestly feel like I'm the only person with these thoughts, and it was bad. So when she screamed that, it literally felt like the whole room just went, and you couldn't even hear crickets. You couldn't even hear the any of that. It was just like, and I could not believe she said it. My throat started tightening because I got scared. Like I honestly got scared, like if something was gonna happen to me. You know what? My feelings were valid because my mama was not there. So of course I would feel these emotions because I don't have my mom. Whole room feels like it's going quiet, and I honestly could not like even understand what was going on. So we are at like looking at each other's face. Kay, I'm kind of just like bent over and I'm like, you know, in that stance of like, what's up, buddy? You know, that stupid ass stance. And she had the nerve to scream that. And when she did, it felt like a lifetime where I was like literally like thinking of everything. Like, oh my God, don't react, don't react. And at the same time, I was like, no, like defend yourself. Like, how is she gonna sit up and I always want to say her name. How is she gonna sit up in Tommy's house and act so comfortable. And I am just so confused because honestly, I felt like, did I miss something? Like, did I honestly miss something that where like she just turned into a Cassie overnight? Like, did I honestly miss something? And I just did not see it. Like, it was just day and night. When I ask Skillet now, she just has no words for it. And it's kind of frustrating because I hate that I always, and my husband tells me too, you always want an answer and sometimes it is what it is. And it pisses me off. Like, honestly, it does. Anyways, she says that and she just looks back at me and I just, right there, because I'm just like, well, how are you gonna do that? How are you gonna do that? Was that okay? No, it was not. So she shoots back, goes like this. Hennessy goes fuck like that. I'm telling you, literally everything feels like a slow motion. He goes fuck like that. So she's going back and this bitch kicks me in my stomach, almost like my hoo-ha. And I just react and we are just like, okay. And I feel like we got our good hits in, but I feel like we weren't really trying to hurt each other because we, in a sick way, we were like, I love you, bitch, you know? And I hated that we would fight. And for the longest, I wouldn't say, if anyone would ask like, oh, did you and Skillet ever fight? I'd always be like, no. Because I never wanted to remember those memories. I never wanted to admit that like I would ever put my hands on her, vice versa. I never wanted to admit I put my hands on her because it's not something I'm proud of. It's not something where it's like, go, go, go. You know, it's not something that I am happy about because it was just a reaction and it makes me feel bad. Weirdly. I know that sounds weird. Because I shouldn't have hit her. And it does make me feel bad because it was just such a stupid child reaction just to deck her in her face. And I shouldn't have. And it made me look so guilty, like if I was hiding something. Ain't that some shit? So be careful how you react as well because there's some people who are just waiting for any type of slip up you have to be like, ooh, there it is. There it is. That, you know, those people who are quick to believe the rumors because they were already plotting. They were already plotting. So, you know, we got to be careful. Well, don't be careful. Don't give a f. But in situations, we sometimes do, you know? So punched her. She kicks me like near my hoo-ha. And we're kind of like going at it, pulling each other's hair. But I have fought other people where like I am literally like full Hulk mode and I'm trying to hurt. I couldn't really go all the way with her like that. You know, we were just screaming and Hennessy is just sitting on the couch. Everyone else is around and people are screaming for Tommy, telling Tommy like, get over here, like your girl fighting, get over here. And so we're just like tumbling. And it wasn't until like this big dude literally just picks us up by our freaking collars and separates us and kind of just like screams in our face, like Hulk mode. Like, you knew he was a dad, okay? Like that's how the type of vibe he gave me, where he was like fed up and he was like screaming in our faces where I wanted to urinate, okay? And I've only urinated a couple times when I get yelled at like that, okay? So anyways, he screams in our face and we automatically just like, you know, stop. I literally felt like a little puppy. Like this man just, and then I wait a little bit and then I scream, get the f out. I'm screaming to Skillet. And Hennessy chimes in saying, she don't have to leave. She don't have to leave. Like if it's one thing I really hate when crackheads really make themselves comfortable. Like they really do. And it sucks because I was always around really weird people and I swear like that's one thing they had was like a nerve where I don't know where they got it from. It was crazy. It was insane. The dude who was holding us, we'll name him Lucky. So Lucky tells him to shut the f up, that this is his fault, that this is always happening around him, that like what's wrong with you, why are you so childish, like yelling at him as he's still holding us. And it's so weird because like we're now like on our tippy toes because like it's starting to hurt, like, you know, so we're just on our tippy toes and I kind of just like move like all crazy and he kind of just like lets us go, but not nicely. Like he chucks us where he's just like, and I'm telling you, this dude big, okay, like really big. And he lets us go and Skillet tries to go to the restroom. And so I go for her and he grabs my little ass again and pulls me back. So she goes into the restroom and Tiffany starts knocking on the door and tells her like, hey, you need to open this door. You need to get the out. Like, hey, you need to go. You need to go. Hennessy's not saying anything at this point, and it's just like really awkward, really weird. And I hate that I felt bad. And I was really upset that Tiffany was even telling her to get out or anything. It was just like, who is talking to you? Like, why are you talking to her? Why are you telling her anything? And I hate that about me, because I should have just let them like be mean to her, but it wasn't right. Like, that's one thing I don't like. Like, if it's, I'm not one to be like, yeah, let's do it, just because like it was wrong, okay? Anyways, so I kind of just chill there for a minute, and I noticed that Lucky is kind of talking to Hennessy and kind of just telling him like what's what. Everyone was getting kind of tipsy, so I didn't want to be in that, like, if there were anything was gonna happen. So I kind of just like move my way out of the situation, and I go towards where Tommy's at. During this whole thing, Tommy never came out. Tommy never came and saved me. Tommy never came out to defuse the situation. Tommy was like in the back trying to look for that damn phone. So as I go back there, Tommy is still looking. She lifts the bed and there's no phone, which I was kind of happy, but at the same time, I was like, where the f is this phone? Like, where is this phone? Because now I just look even more guilty, and that was just like running through my head. I hate that I am put in situations like that where sometimes where I react too quickly, or if it just looks like, yeah, like you did it, and like I don't get the benefit of the doubt. So I'm literally like bricks, so uncomfortable. Like, I am sweating in all the wrong places. Like, I'm sweating bad. So I try to get her attention, and I tell her like, hey, like what the heck? Like, how come you didn't come out there? And she's still just like moving stuff, and she's like, you're good. Like, you're good. You know what the you doing? You're good. You're good. And I'm just like annoyed with her. I'm like, well, did you find it? And she's like, well, where did you put it? She's like, didn't she just scream to look under here? She's like, so obviously you guys had it. You guys had it this whole time. I let you stay in my house, and this is how you repay me, Lex. And she's trying to give me the whole speech, and I'm like, I didn't take it. And she's like, okay, then who did? And I'm like, I don't know, because I didn't. I'm telling you guys, Skillet was in the restroom. Tiffany was just waiting for us to get out of like line for her to put her hands on her. And I still did not feel like it was okay. Maybe I would have been like, yeah, she did it if she wasn't in the house, because it's literally all of us and then Skillet. It's not fair. I know people are probably gonna be screaming like, Alexis, you're so stupid, but it honestly wasn't fair. Like, what would I have got out of it? Okay, yeah, she did it, and everyone's gonna be screaming in her face, and then she's gonna feel all alone. Like, I would have not been able to sleep. I would have felt sick to my stomach. Like, it's not cool. And we have history. So it's like really hard when I love somebody that much, because it's really hard just, you know, you gotta really piss me off for me to cut you off. Like, really, really piss me off for me to be like, yeah, I'm done. So I'm like, I don't know. And then she's like, I'm so tired of these games. Like, just tell me where it's at. I don't even care at this point. Like, I need to get a hold of so-and-so and so-and-so. And I'm like, well, I don't know where it's at. I can help you look for it. And she just like looking at me, and she could just tell she's looking at me with disgust. And she's like, don't you get tired? Don't you get tired of playing these games? Like, I would be exhausted if I was you. And I just looked at her and I said, same, because how are you gonna tell me that? Like, that's so rude. Like, so freaking rude. Like, these people really make me hate myself sometimes. And I'm just helping her look, and I can hear that Skillet's making a phone call, and she's saying, yeah, can you come right now? And I don't know what Tiffany heard or what, like maybe I didn't hear what she heard. She starts banging on the door, and she's like, don't be sending anyone over here. Don't be causing problems. Tommy finally tells her like, hey, like, just leave her alone. Just leave her alone. So I go by the door and I tell her like, if you're gonna have someone pick you up, then that's cool. Let me know and I can walk you out. She's like, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you ever. And I'm like, she was mad that like I had punched her and I pretty much like embarrassed her. So I finally get in the restroom, and she's just like cleaning up her face. She has like a little bit of blood, and she was just telling me that the reason why she screamed that is because like I was just like in her face and I was embarrassing her. And I'm like, why would you do that? Like, you know, like the phone's in there. And she just looked at me, she's like, I don't care. And I'm like, how are you gonna blame me? Like, you, like, what, are you serious? So she really had me feeling like I was in the wrong. And I'm like literally like trying to sit there and talk to her, and she's like, I don't want to hear it, Lex. Like, I don't want to hear it. Like, I don't want to hear it. Like, I'm so sick of you. And I'm like, what? So I was really confused. Like, what did I Like, what? And so I'm like, bitch, I'm sick of you. Like, anytime like a dude comes around, like, you always change. Like, I don't know what's wrong with you. Like, obviously you don't get enough attention because you're always quick to jump. She's like, you're one to talk. You're really one to talk. And I kind of just like laughed and I'm like, okay, whatever. And my little desperate ass asks her, so like, are we like not friends no more? Like, are we not talking no more? And she's like, no, like, I don't want to be friends with you. Like, like, I'm done. Like, this was the last straw. And I'm like, all right, bet. So I walk out and I'm like hurt. Like, my chest feels tight. I'm hurt because I'm like, how can she like friend break up with me? Like, what the heck? Like, this hurts. So I feel stupid. Like, I literally feel dizzy because I felt like I really did something wrong and I didn't. She was just so good with like mind games, and it sucks even saying that because she's my friend, but honestly, it just sucked that she played so many of these mind games and I would fall into it because I was so deprived of love that any ounce of love that anyone did show me or like attention or anything, like I fiend for it. So I was just like, wow, like over some dude, like really over some dude. And I should have never put my hands on her. I know I should have never put my hands on her. It was just a stupid reaction of me being like, what the fuck? And just boom, like hard. And I shouldn't have. Like, I really, really shouldn't have. So I go to the room. I'm still helping Tommy. And then Tiffany asks me, like, where is it? She's like, stop playing these games. And where I'm on my knees, like looking for it, she kicks my shoe. And I get pissed. Like, I jump up quick. I jump up and I'm like, dude, like, for real, don't touch me. Don't touch me. And she kind of gets in my face and she's like, what, you think you're cool because you punched your homegirl? Try me. Try me. She's like, that ain't nothing. Try me. Try me. And I tell her, I'm like, dude, I don't know what's up with you. Like, I feel like you have a hard on for me. Honestly, she's like, oh, what the fuck? I'm like, yeah, like, honestly, at this time, like, at this point, like, that's what it feels like. It feels like, honestly, you keep picking on me because, like, you like me or something. She's like now putting her hand out and she's calling me weird. I'm like, no, dude, like, you're weird. Like, you don't stop. Like, you want me to put my hands on you, so like maybe like that's gonna get you off or something, and like that's me touching you. Like, don't, like, back the fuck up. And I yell at Tommy and I'm like, are you not gonna tell her anything? Like, she's literally kicking my foot. Like, what's wrong with you? And she just screams like a banshee. Just screams like, I can't take it. Like, shut the f up. Like, screaming psycho. And we just look at her. And as we're looking at her, Skillet's getting out of the restroom and she's like going like this, like walking like this. So if anyone touches her, they're getting elbows. And so Tiffany tells her, like, you better be careful, bitch, because if you hit me, I'm gonna f you up. And Skillet is not even looking at her. She's just like, don't, which is really smart. Because if you ever are trying to leave and you're in a situation, elbow. I don't give a f, stay away from me, elbow. But at the same time, be careful because people are crazy. Skillet makes sure not to touch her or anything. And as she's leaving, I'm following her out because I'm like, who's picking her up? Like, just because she like ended our friendship, like, I still want to see who's picking her up. So like, God forbid anything were to happen, I like know like whose car she got into, right? As she's leaving, I'm like walking out and Hennessy is walking out and he's like kind of grabbing his pants like that area. And he's like trying to call her and she's like, nope, I don't want to talk. I'm just trying to leave. Please, I just want to leave. And he's like, all right, like, that's all you had to say. And then he turns around and he's like still grabbing his stuff. He stays by the door and I'm walking out and she's like, I don't want to talk to you. Like, you're not my friend no more. You bitch. And so as she's getting closer to the truck that she's gonna get into, she's getting a little louder and being disrespectful and calling me this and that. I'm like, okay, shut the f up. Like, I don't want to hear it. Like, whatever. Like, you're getting really rowdy, bitch, because whoever's in that car, you uncomfortable. Like, whatever, bitch. So we just look real stupid, just like yelling at each other, right? And so she's telling me that she hates me and she can't believe that I did that. And I'm like, I can't believe you tried to set me up. Again, I should never put my hands on her, but it was just a freaking stupid reaction. I shouldn't have done it. She's like yelling at me and it was an aunt who had picked her up. And so her aunt starts screaming and starts telling me, you little bitch, get close to my car and I will f you up. So she's like super like, she can huff and puff all she wants, but I'm like, okay, whatever, Teresa, get the f in the car. Cause I'm not intimidated by her. I've seen her get her ass beat like plenty of times. So I'm just like, and I just look at Skillet and I'm like, dude, like, my bad. Like, and I am apologizing to her and I'm like, my bad. Like, I didn't mean. She's like, no, you did. And I'm like, dude, like, why the heck? Like, I'm sorry, but like, you made it seem like it came out of nowhere. I'm like, and I sound stupid trying to justify me putting my hands on you, but I'm sorry. And she's like, no, we're done. We're done. And I'm like, how are you gonna like make me feel bad when you literally have jumped me? Like, what the fuck? So like, I'm like yelling at her and I don't know if she had forgot or what, but she kind of just like looks at me. No, like, why are you bringing up old shit? I was like, what the you bitch. So we're still yelling as she's like taking her sweet time getting to the car, and we're like yelling at each other, and neighbors start to come out because, you know, neighbors are nosy and they're like, what's going on? So I'm still yelling at her, she's yelling at me, bringing up stupid stuff from who knows when, and you're dirty and this and you're that, and she just keeps telling me that I'm stupid, you're dumb. And I'm like, all right. The neighbors are now screaming, telling us to shut the F up, and they're telling her to leave, to get in the car, to leave already, because they were annoyed. She ended up getting in the car, and as I turned my back, I literally could not help but like cry, because it felt like for real this time, that like we were for really done, and I felt bad because I put my hands on her. So I'm kind of like trembling and my lip is curling. I seriously am just like ready just to bawl. As I get closer to the door, I see Hennessy's by the door, and I'm just like trying not to deal with him because he just gives me major creepy vibes, and I'm just not. So he's still holding on to his stuff, and as I'm reaching for the door, he grabs my hand and he goes, damn, that was so hot. And I just look at him and I tell him, like, you're so disgusting. Like, you are so gross. Like, honestly, like, you can't get someone your own age. Like, you're so disgusting. And he's like, chill, little mom, chill. And he's still holding on to his stuff and tells me, do you want to feel? And I just look at him and I'm just like, like, what? Like, you really were just all up on my freaking bestie. And so I just look at him and I tell him, no. Why would you ask me to touch your dick? Like, really loud. So whoever, the neighbors, whoever was behind the door, they could hear. And he goes, oh, shh. Like, even he knew, like, oh, shh. Like, be quiet. Even though they were cool with Skillet and him, like, chilling, whatever. It was just, I wanted them to know, like, hey, I'm not okay with it. So I said it really loud. So I say it again and he goes, shh. And he like tries to bring me closer as he's biting his lip, and I'm just pushing away, and I'm like trying to get into the door. And as I'm trying to get into the door, I call Lucky's name because he's a big dude. And obviously me seeing how he kind of already handled Hennessy, I'm like, okay, he don't like him, right? So I call Lucky's name and he comes to the door and he's like, what's going on? Like, upset and just like pissed off. And so I tell him, I'm like, he keeps telling me if I want to touch, like, I don't, like, I want to get inside. And he goes, he said what? And so as he's like, you know, like, what the fuck? I just like get in the door. And so I don't know what happened between Lucky and Hennessy outside, but the door just closed behind them. And I always hope that he just like beat his ass because he really needed it. Like, he is the one who needed to get punched in the face because he was just so creepy, and he was really used to girls flocking to him because of his like personality and his looks. And to me, he just reeked of disgusting. Like, he honestly was disgusting. And spoiler alert, when me and Skillet did talk, she felt like guys liked me even though I wouldn't try and talk to them. And I was, you know, pretty much that I was like super insecure, and that even though I was a bitch, that some of the guys liked that, and a lot of the guys that we hung out with together and she would get with and stuff. So I'm just like, dude, like, I don't care. I honestly never cared to be like, oh yeah, like, I want that dude. Like, I honestly, you guys, I was always just like very like, huh, and like always just like freaked out of this and that. And it was just, I hated it. I hated it. But I was just, that wasn't what was even on my mind. Like, I thought, like, I'm just trying to hang out with you. Like, I'm just trying to be cool with you. Like, I'm not trying to do anything else. And she was like always plotting. And I didn't like that because I always felt like I had to have my guard up with her, and I could never tell her like intimate things because I felt like she was just always waiting until like I like tripped or something, you know? So anyways, I go inside and I talk to Tommy, and I'm like telling her like, hey, like Hennessy is saying this, and she's like, what? Like, just so annoyed. And she's like, damn, Alexis, you're always complaining about something. If you don't like the attention, you don't want him to talk to you, then stay the fuck inside. Stop. Okay? Put on a hoodie. Put on baggier clothes. Like, men are dogs, and you just have to get used to that, people being dogs. And I've had that conversation before with a lot of women where they would tell me that I had to put on baggier clothes or I had to wear my hoodies. And when I look back on a lot of the things like I wore, like, I wasn't like provocative. And even if I were to wear something provocative, that's never inviting someone in, ever. I don't care what anyone says. Oh, she was looking for, oh, she was like, no, she wasn't. And you're disgusting. And you just want to have an excuse to be a pig. The clothes that I would wear was like a normal, like, I wasn't even trying to be whatever they were trying to picture me as. I wasn't. And it just, the clothes just fit me. They didn't fit me like if I was like a small, I wore a small. I didn't wear an extra small. If I was a large, I wore a large. I would never try to wear anything where it was like skin tight. Like, it just, it wouldn't work that way. Like, I just, and especially because of what happened with my stepdad, I was always so disgusted with myself, and I still to this day get very disgusted with myself, where I feel like I can't even dress like cute sometimes because I feel gross, like it's a no-no. Like, it's so hard because like my husband would be like, oh babe, like you should like wear this and stuff, and like sometimes I'll get in the mood and I'll be like, oh hell yeah, like I want to wear that, and I just feel so gross, and it's something that has mentally with me for so long. So when people would try and be like, well, do this and do that, well, look less this, like, at times, like, I wouldn't freaking put arm deodorant on because I didn't want to catch any type of like dude looking at me, or like any type, like, because I feel like older men seen me as a target because they knew I didn't have like a father. They knew that my mom was doing out what she was doing, and that I didn't have anyone like really looking after me. So I would try to be like a cochina sometimes. It's like the way they would look at me, I could not even go into like the store without like just getting that look and them not feeling shame of looking at a child like that. Like, it's so disgusting how quick I can pick out like a sicko. So quick. And I have told so many people like, you gotta be careful with him because he just gives me like this weird icky, and people be like, what, like you're just traumatized, like, oh my god. And either a couple months or like years later they'd be like, hey Lex, remember you said so and so, and I'm like, and something happened, and it's just like, it's unfortunate, but it's just very disgusting how once something like that happens to you, you can pick on it so quick when you just see them for what they are. Like, you can just unmask them now, and it's just very disgusting. But when I look back at pictures, you guys, and even when I remember, I never wore anything where it was inviting or trashy, and if I ever did take a picture or whatever, I always kept it to myself because I felt disgusting sharing that. So whenever you guys see me dressing like more girly or more like, ooh, like my sexy, like I'm feeling so good that day, and I feel really like, oh, I'm gonna do it. But most of the time I feel like, like I just feel so gross with myself, and I freaking hate that. Like, I honestly, I wish I didn't. I really wish I didn't, because I feel like it's held me back a lot of just enjoying me and enjoying my body. I feel like it's so weird how it comes in waves, because I'll feel so confident one day and be like, hell yeah, and so sexy, so beautiful, and then the next I feel so disgusted with myself, and I'm taking my hot burning shower where I honestly feel like the flesh is just gonna come off my skin if I move. Like, it's so, when someone takes away your innocence, it's not just like, you know, that one and done it's like a lifetime of like how like it fucks you up. And it sucks because you honestly feel like, what the heck? Like, what's wrong with me? But nothing is wrong with us. It's the men, it's the pigs, the people who hurt us, you know, in that way. So she's yelling at me. She told me that, and I'm just like, okay. Because a lot of the women that I was around would always say the same thing. Even when I would work for the Peaches, if Sam wore 2 shorts of shorts and someone was coming over, a particular somebody, hey, go upstairs and go change now. And it was just, so when you grow up a certain way, you get used to a certain things, and you're like, okay, that's like normal, whatever, you know. I just tell her like, all right, and I go into the restroom and I bawl. I just cry and I cry, and a lot of the times I remember I would just look at myself in the mirror and just cry. Like, do you guys remember doing that, or am I just a weirdo? Like, I literally just look at myself and cry, like, and just look at myself cry, and then it would make me stop sometimes because I'd be like, ew, you're so ugly, like, stop. So I'm just there, sitting there on the floor, and I just start to text, just texting anybody who I can. And like, hey, what are you doing? Hey, just to keep me busy, because I didn't want to deal with the situation that was out there. I didn't want to deal with Tiffany. I just didn't want to deal with anything. I didn't want to hear anything. I was just wanting them just to hurry up, party everything out, and just, that's it. Like, call it a night. I don't want to deal with it anymore. So someone needs to use the restroom, and they're like knocking all kinds of crazy. I open it, I'm like, oh, and I just go straight to the room. Tommy's no longer in there. I don't know what she's doing or what she's looking for, anything. I don't know what she's doing. So I'm like, okay. So I just go in the room, close the door, and I just sit in there, running her mouth, telling everybody like she beat me up, she hit me, because that's what everybody was saying. That's what MySpace was saying, that crazy Lex just went crazy on her for no reason, and I was trying to show off for Hennessy and was just painting a whole different story. And she was telling people that I stole Tommy's phone. So everyone thinks that I stole Tommy's phone and that I was trying to frame Skillet. I'm pissed because I'm like, how is she gonna do something grimy like this? Like, are you serious? Like, why can't people just ever just fight without there being like, and this and that and this? And then to make it worse, like, she was lying on me, and it would just look stupid. I'd probably be like, no, she did, and her mom's a hoe. Like, I would never win. And it sucked because, again, I wasn't really liked. So it really sucked when anything like this would happen and people would be like, dude, I knew it. I knew it. Like, I knew it. Like, she looks like that type. Like, I knew it. And it sucked because how my mom was doing bad, that people would put me under that same category and be like, yup, like mother, like daughter. It honestly sucked. And it sucked to get bullied online and people not give you the benefit of the doubt because of some stupid fight you guys might have had, and they were like, same girl, I freaking knew it. I knew it. Like, it honestly sucked. So I get off of that, and the ex texts me and he asks me like, hey, are you okay? I heard what was going on. Let me know if you need anything. And I took the bait. I took the bait because I still had so many feelings for him. And I felt so alone. And I felt like we were meant for each other in a weird way. I even hate saying that because it could be the farthest thing from the truth. But I felt like, oh my God, it has to be, because like he must care about me if he checked up on me. All the bad stuff that he had did, I didn't even think about, because I was just so focused in that moment of like, oh my God, he cared enough to reach out to me. And instead of him writing under the freaking post of like, yeah, she's a bitch, or yeah, this, or yeah, that, he reached out to me. And that is because I was so naive and young. And you get so, when you are so desperate for love and you are so deprived from it, it doesn't matter where it comes from, you will try and justify it. Like, oh yeah, this is how I'm supposed to be loved. Or, oh yeah, because this is how things are done at home, and like my mom gets treated this way, so like this must be normal. And oh yeah, this is how things are done. And oh yeah, like it's just a constant thing. So it's really, really important to show your kids, your nieces, your nephews of like what good healthy love is, a good healthy relationship, what it is, because it really does like mess with your mind, a child's mind, when they think like, oh, like they tolerate this, like this must be normal, and it's not even putting the blame on our parents or anything or anybody else. I felt like in a way I knew, but I was just so in love, like puppy love with this person, that I didn't care. That I honestly, I like, when I look back and I remember and I have freaking nightmares about the shit that I freaking went through, I literally get sick to my stomach where I don't even want to get out of bed because I feel so gross that I even lived that. That I feel like I have lived such a long time that it really just trips me out. Like I went through that all that happened, because it's just like a what the fuck? Like it trips me out, you guys. Like honestly to God, it trips me out that I went through so much at such a young age. So we start messaging, I start getting giddy and stupid, laughing at my phone, and it honestly feels like everything else just doesn't matter. I'm just so happy that he's messaging and we are not fighting. We're just laughing about this dumb stuff and just like reminiscing like if we're so grown, like just being so dumb, young, and in love. And he asks me if he can take me out and we can go to the movies, that he just wants to see me spend time, that he misses me. And I'm seriously just like, just want to live in this fantasy, because everything else is just so chaotic and just crazy. And I was telling him about Hennessy and what had happened, and he was like, oh hell no, I'll protect you, like give me his name, like just give me like, well, like I'll handle it, like trying to act like he was like a boss and like about it, but like he was not about it. But it felt good to hear at that moment, especially because I had the freaking adults around me acting like it was like no biggie and it was my fault and what did I do. And he was just saying all the right things, like literally all the right things, and I was just gushing super stupid hard, where I was just rereading everything he was messaging me, and I was just like, oh my God, like maybe this is what we needed. Maybe we needed this freaking break and just go back to normal. Like, oh my God, like maybe this is what we needed, and like things will be better because we're like a little bit more mature that little time that we spent apart. My nails look nice and things are gonna be different, and just me just in my head, because I really wanted it to work. I really wanted that fake fantasy to come to life. I don't even go outside of the room to see like the party dying down or anything. I literally just stay in the room, and I text Tommy that I'm passing out and that I'm sorry for everything that happened tonight. I forget that like she don't have phone. So how is she gonna, so I'm like, you know what, I'm just, okay. But I text her. So I'm like, if she does like happen to get another phone, she'll see it. And then I'm kind of thinking like, where the hell did the phone go? Like, where did it go? I swear I remember putting it under here. So I'm starting to kind of like question my freaking sanity for a minute, because I'm like, I swear I saw it under. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I continue to text him and I fall asleep. And you know how you just, like you're just like knocking out, where you're just texting and you're so exhausted and your body's just like, I just remember knocking out. I'm not gonna go into full detail about it because I'm not ready. And I know I do share, but there are some things that I want to keep for me. And I hope you guys can understand that, and I hope no one gets upset about that, because I know when you guys hear my story times, you guys like a lot of it because how I go into detail, but there's just certain things I just don't want to go into detail about, and I don't want to, I'm just not ready. So I pass out and I wake up to someone, which what it feels like is someone tugging. So I wake up to feeling like I'm being tugging motion, like just tugging like at my waist, like tugging. And I feel like I'm going farther down the bed, where like I start to like grip onto the side of the mattress, because I'm like wait, what's going on? My first thought was like, oh my gosh, the boogeyman's coming. But it was a different boogeyman. So I'm like holding on to the edge, and I turn my body around super quick, because I am so scared of like, what if this person just jumps on my back? I didn't want it. I didn't even think like you're gonna give this person more access. So I just turn around. And then it's so dark that I can't even really see like who it is, like what, but I can just like smell, like it's just like really like intense. I could just smell like it's really intense. And I'm like trying to look to see like who it is, but I'm telling you, this room was dark, you guys. So I didn't know what was going on, and I felt like I was frozen, and it just felt like everything was going on. And so I just screamed, Tommy, like super loud, and this person just jumps off and just gets out of the room. I don't even know who it was. I don't even know who it was. Seconds later, Tiffany comes in and she's like, why the f are you screaming for? And I was like, who just came in the room? Like someone was just in the room and they were on top of me. She's like, they were just probably trying to get something. Like they probably left something on the bed. Like you were sleeping, like you're overthinking it. You probably like pretty much were saying like I had a fever dream. And I'm like, no, like, of course there's detail that I'm not mentioning in here, but I'm not ready for that, y'all. I'm just not emotionally ready for that. And so I'm like telling her, and she's like telling me like, you're tripping, like we're right there, like why would like someone come in here and do that? And so I'm like telling her, and I think she could see that like I was scared, like that I wasn't making it up, and that I was like, what the heck? And so I'm asking her like, where the fuck is Tommy? Like where is Tommy? And she's like, she left. Like you're good. Like you're good. I'm gonna make sure no one comes in here. Like you're good. So she, I think, could see that I was like really scared that like something did happen. Like what the fuck? Like someone was in here. And I'm like, did you not see? She's like, what does he look like? And I'm like telling her like I could not like really see. Like they just reek of booze. And she's like, everyone's drinking right now. I'm like, who's everybody? And so she's like naming off these names I don't even know. I'm just like freaking out. I don't know like what's going on, and I'm like pissed off because I fell asleep. And even though I thought the party was dying down, like I thought it would be okay, I was just so tired. I was just physically and emotionally exhausted. And so I'm just like pissed off, and I'm like, what? Like I'm like just talking to her, and I'm like telling her like, can you stay in here with me? And she's like, why? And I'm like, I just told you. And she's like, I honestly think like you were just sleeping. Like it was just like a really intense dream. Like it's cool. Like I'm gonna be back out there. Like I'll make sure no one comes in here. I'm like, can you just stay in here with me? Please, Tiffany. Like I know you don't like me. I know. But can you just please stay in here? Like I think that person's gonna come back in here. Like I'm scared. And she's like just looking at me. And she's like, all right, I'm just gonna stay in here until Tommy gets back. And I'm like, well, how long has Tommy been gone? She's like, for a while. So I'm just like, so I get on my phone and I text the ex, and I'm like, hey, can you come pick me up? And he's like, why? What happened? And I don't even really tell him like what happened, because I have a feeling like he'll just blame me, like it's my fault, because that's how he was. Like when his brother did what he did with me, like he blamed me. Like his mom and his sister and him, like they blamed me. And I didn't do anything. Like that man was like in his late 30s. I did not do anything to that man. And this didn't even happen yet. But like I just knew like the type of person that he was. So I didn't want to tell him, because I knew that he was gonna start and be like, it's your fault, blah 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 blah. Because that's how these gross, pathetic people, that's how they think. They never think like it's the predator's fault. They always think like, what did you do? What did you do? So I just tell him like, can you come get me? Like these are going crazy. And he's like, I don't know where like you're gonna sleep. And I'm like, I don't know, like can you like we sleep in your car? And he's like, no. So me and him are going back and forth, and he's like, give me a couple minutes and then I'll write you back. And I'm like, okay. So Tiffany is right there like at the side of the bed, and she's just like on her phone, and she's kind of like huffing and puffing because she has to be in the room with me. And I'm just like freaking out. And so I'm messaging Tommy, and I keep forgetting Tommy doesn't have her phone. So I'm messaging Tommy, and I'm like, hey, like someone came in the room, and I'm giving her all details, and I'm just like writing it out to her, because whenever she did get her phone or whatever, she was going to be updated on everything. So I felt like Tiffany was going to tell her. And remember, I left a note on the fridge. She never got it. So I don't even trust Tiffany. I was even surprised that she even stayed in the room with me. But I feel like she thought like I was probably gonna make like noise and go out there and be like, who did it? So I'm just sitting on the bed, and I'm like in my head, like, how could you have fell asleep? How could have you like just let your guard down? What is wrong with you? Like, why did you fall asleep? Like, why did you do this? Like that night I got taken advantage of, and I felt so disgusted. Like I felt so gross, even though like I wasn't like already, I was touched over, and I felt so disgusted. And I was just like, Like I'm just trying to like think of everything, of like trying to like remember every single little detail. So I was writing myself to my number, like every like little detail, every little thing, because I'm thinking like when my mom gets out, we're gonna take over the world. She's gonna be good. She's gonna be mentally okay, and we are going to just get this all situated. And so I'm like trying to just remember like all the little details, so when I do walk out there, I can just look at everybody and I'm like, hey, like just like, you know. So like I'm just like literally like in my head, Tiffany looks over at me, she's like, what the is wrong with you? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, did your mom drop in your head or something? Like, like, what is wrong with you? And I look at her and I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, you keep calling me a re, and like I don't appreciate it. And she's like, oh my god, here we go with this sensitivity. So I'm gonna leave it there, loves, and I will be updating you guys very shortly. Thank you guys so much for all your love and support with my story times and me being able to tell my story. It really does mean a lot to me, and I really, really do appreciate it, you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And I love you, and you do matter, and you are beautiful, and you are important, and we want you here. So I love you guys. If you guys enjoy my story times, if you guys find them helpful, and if you guys do like hear my story times, please make sure to give me a big thumbs up. It definitely helps me out. It really helps me out. So I'd really appreciate it if you guys give me a thumbs up, comment. It helps a lot too for YouTube to recommend these videos to you guys, so they know like, hey, you like this video? Okay. And it helps with the algorithm. Is that how you say it? And all of that. So I want to say thank you guys so much. Make sure to follow me on Instagram so you guys are updated when I do post new story times and giveaways and all that good stuff. Again, I love you guys so much. Besos a todos, and I'll see you guys in my next story time. Bye.